Well, I don't know what to say other than wire must be a thing for me lately. Hey y'all, APG Jamie here, and today we're going to play with some wire and some dictionary book page as Champ goes in and out of the studio, and then Molly comes in, and in a little bit she's going to go out. That's just kind of how my day's been going thus far. Just let me get this whining out of the way. I've been sneezing and hiccuping, and I don't know what is going on with all that. Anywhoots. This is something I did many years ago with a local friend. That's local, not loco. Loco meaning crazy. Anywho, well, she's a little bit of that, but that's neither here nor there. So what you do is you take your wire and you're going to shape it into whatever kind of shapes you want, and then you're going to find a word to slip in there, or you find a word you want to use and you make your wire into a shape that will fit accordingly to your word. Okay? Now, you can use whatever kind of words you want. You can even use a phrase. It's all just got to fit inside your little wire shape structure thing there. Okay? So what do you need for this project? Thin, malleable wire. All right. Now, you know, the more you work with a piece of wire, it will start to get brittle after a while because it heats up, and that's just the nature of wire, and then you got to anneal it to get it, back to being workable. But we're not getting into annealing here. We're just doing quick little projects, semi-quick little projects. Because, sometimes they can take a little while. Because I am just using book pages, and they're not necessarily new book pages, which means they're kind of thin and they may be just a little bit on the fragile side, which is what I decided after I started getting it all put together. So here's a suggestion, tip numero uno. Okay? You got your words, your phrases, whatever together. Go ahead and matte medium over that on the front. Let it dry. Let it dry good. Flip it over and matte medium on the back. That will just help to make the any paper actually just a little bit more usable. Can you use cardstock? Absolutely. Can you use computer printed stuff? Absolutely. Can you use a sticker? Probably so. Can you stamp out a word or a phrase? Why not? You could just take this little project anywhere you wanted to go. I kind of stuck with it the way I originally did it, which was just to make a wire shape, and or find the words you want to use and make a wire shape that kind of goes with that. Did all my words show up perfectly within my wire shape? Good enough. Pretty near perfect. So right here I thought, you know what, I'm going to make a square one, because I got this square little die. You throw it around like that, and it says, get a grip, or it's not an option, one of those kind of things. You asked a question. You asked a question, and then you roll the die, and it says nothing bad happens. So, it's one of those fun little square dies. What size is that? Somebody is asking. I can hear you. It is right at a 1-inch rolling die. So that's essentially a 1-inch square shape that I'm going to put more than one word in, because I thought I liked all those words together. And I thought, well, why don't I just make this here shape? I just happen to have this square shape. Could you use a bottle? Absolutely. Now, also what I'm doing is I'm twisting the two loose ends of the wire together, sort of like you would a bread tie. okay, sort of. And then I'm rolling up the ends into pretty little swirls or into just a little, I'm going to say jump ring, but it's not a jump ring, but jump ring-esque kind of thing. Could you use these for necklaces? Why not? Why the heck not put a jump ring on there, or two, or a chain, or a, you know, what are those things called? A lanyard? Not a lanyard. You know. Necklace cord. Bless my heart. And make a necklace out of it. Could you put these on earrings? Absolutely. Why not? Could you dangle them on a bracelet? Well, there again, yes. The other question is, should you? That I don't know. It depends on how delicate your paper is and whether you're going out in the rain or, you know, you're going to be wrestling or just fancy dancing or something. You know, all that could make a difference on how you wear your jewelry. It's fun. Takes a little bit, but you know, you can do it. Make a special little ensemble, a bracelet and some earrings, a necklace. Heck, you can make hairpins, hair doolally dangler things, junk jewelry dangler things. Dangle things for a charm, or not a charm. Make them into a charm that you can dangle off of, you know, tags or clusters or journaling cards, or just, you know what? You're only limited by your imagination. That's all I'm saying. And so far I have given you a chameleon different ideas, and we are, how far are we in here? We're not even 10 minutes in this video yet, y'all. I don't know what I'm doing on screen. I seem to be pausing on my end. It's just like an empty screen doing nothing. I don't know. I'm looking for something. I reckon. There, we found it. Oh, yes. My little piece of wood. Guys, not only can you make your own little wire things, if you got the wire to do it, okay? You know those pop tops that come on food cans a lot of times anymore? You don't have to have a can opener to open a can of soup or green beans or something like that, okay? They got them little pop tops on there like soda pop. You could use soda pop if you wanted to. Lid pop top. You pull them off. Got to be real careful because they got real sharp edges on them now. Okay, which is why we're using the hammer here on top of that piece of wood, so we can hammer down the little sharp edges that may or may not be sticking out. Okay, because you don't want that catching on your finger, or if you're going to make this into a jewelry piece, you don't want it catching on a pretty sweater or something like that, scratching your neck or, you know, anything like that, because you just don't want that to happen. All right? Don't nobody need a lockjaw around her. So, just doing that, and I'm kind of pinching around different places. I've got several types of food rings here. And these are all off of different food cans. It could be Spam or canned ham or canned soup. These things usually did come out of a can and not a box, because, you know, you don't need a pull tab on the box. You just smash it open. Any hoots. Got a fingernail file, emery board, sanding doohickey. You can sometimes sand off some of them little sharpnesses with one of them, okay? Those do get old. They do need to be replaced, and I think mine has, that particular one has now made it into the garbage. So I got that bigger, I don't know what I'm doing. Just looking at words. Oh, and covering up the back. You can cover up the back. You cannot cover up the back. You can paint the back. You cannot paint the back. Okay, you can use another piece of book page on the back so that all your words and everything's facing whichever way you want them to face, because sometimes, you know, direction matters. Sometimes you just kind of need to think about keeping an eye on that, okay? I seem to have made all mine so that I could hold the little open end of the wire in my left hand and my words, you know, facing right. I don't know what was up with that, but I did notice I did that, and I thought, well, that's kind of peculiar. Still not 10 minutes in the video. What the heck, Batman? Oh. So, A little tiny piece of scrap napkin. Well, that one's not a scrap, but, you know, it is now. Okay, I thought, well, let's just collage that on the back here. Then your words kind of see through. You can't really tell what they are, and it's a small piece anyway. It's a little small thing. So, you know, looks good. Paint them, ink them, stain them, whatever. I don't know that I would try to necessarily pre-cut it before I attached it to the little wire, which we're fixing to do. On account of, if you trim away too much of the paper, it's not going to stick, because you've got to stick to that little skinny wire now. That's kind of the get you point. All right, so we're putting on our Aleene's Original Tacky Glue. It is my #1 favorite. Okay, just saying. And removing what I think is excess glue. And now I'm going to stick that on there, and I'm going to try to center my word up. Now, sometimes you got to use some caution on account of, you know, dictionary page. Sometimes some of them definitions kind of pop up in there, and you might not want some of them definition words inside your phrase thing. So I'm putting a little weight on it just to hold the paper down onto the wire, and I put the paper on the flattest part of the wire. Okay, so we're just going to keep doing that. And I think I show you every one I made in this particular session. Okay, pretty sure, per lady. So and I'm putting my little word phrase thing around there where I can see it to my benefit, because, you know, I'm the artist here. So we're just doing that, and now we're going to use a pop top, food pop top. Now these have more surface over the wire, because the wire is just a little skinny round wire, and these pop tops tend to be flat, you know, and they have more surface to glue to. Not Bluetooth, glue to. Here's a big one. So anyway, we just do that for all of them. Truthfully, I don't know. I don't remember if I show you all of them or not. I'm like, well, which way do I want it to go? And I don't know if y'all have ever watched the Bohemian Crafter. I'll have to look that up and put a link below to her channel, because I don't remember her exact actual name, but I think that's it. That's pretty close. Anyway, she does really cool journals, okay, with flips and flops, and she uses a lot of these pull tabs, pull tops, pop tops, whatever, for closures to help keep little flips and flaps closed up. There's another idea for you, okay? It's just, you know, depends on what you want to mess with. Now that happens to be copper wire, real copper wire, y'all. Can't necessarily get that stuff anymore. It's cost a pretty penny. You see what I did there? Copper penny, copper wire. Our copper pennies aren't necessarily made from that much copper anymore. Anywho, back on subject. These have dried, and if I'm not mistaken, they probably dried a day or two, because I had stuff I needed to do, so I just went and did it. Because I mean, you know, it's all good, people. It's all good. You want to use a new blade on your craft knife, okay? Don't worry if you don't have a craft knife. I'm going to give you an alternative. All right. Just wait for it, because we've only got 30 more minutes to go in the video. Oh, if you got some paper that you can't quite get, take that emery board fingernail file thingy, sanding block thingy, stick, whatever, and go in one direction, and it will help take off that excess paper that you may or may not have. If you don't have it, don't do that. So put just a little dabble of art glitter glue on the back, because when I was cutting, my knife point slipped and I pulled it loose. I'm trying to get a close up, put autofocus on. Ta-da! Impassioned. And here's our square. and we're just able to trim around that fairly well with the scissors. Now, the copper wire was just a bit thicker than the black wire. I don't know the gauges on any of these. None of my stuff had labels on it. I don't know what it is, y'all. There's the emery board. Now, when you're using the emery board fingernail file thing, you could take off a little bit of your wire color if your wire is colored, whether it's painted or it has a plastic coating of sorts on there, okay? So bear that in mind. If you do that, then just take some color off from somewhere else and it'll look like it's supposed to be distressed that way. It's on purpose, okay? One place is a boo-boo, 2 or 3 is on purpose. So now we're getting out the glossy accents because I'm like, well, let's put some shine on here. So we're getting that out, and of course it's clogged up because what's not, and you know, I've had this bottle forever, and I'm like, oh, come on, let me hurry up and use the rest of this because I'm not throwing it away till it's gone. So I'm trying to get it off, and then finally I just say forget it and cut the, look at that, just cut that right off, and boy, that stuff just came out of there almost like melted butter, almost. But because it is so old, it is pretty thick. So I have a damp brush. This is damp, not drippy wet, but it's damp, okay? And I'm just smoothing out my little glossy accents. Now I was pretty darn happy with that. Of course, the rest of my glossy accents is sitting here, and it's probably getting all dried up in the tip of that thing again anyway. Look at that. Imaginable imagery. Your imagination is your only limit, people. Isn't it neat how the brain puts different ideas? You see this thing over here and that thing over there, and then you're walking around and you're talking, and all of a sudden 2 or 3 of these ideas just kind of fold into each other, and you're like, oh, I'm so inspired, okay? And motivation is when your dreams put on work clothes, and action is the work clothes of inspiration. Ha ha. I just said that. Anywho, trim that away. Some of the smaller ones are a bit tougher, okay? So just kind of keep that in mind. So we're putting glossy now we're just like, well, let's just use this glossy accents on everything. So I think I ended up with 1 or 2 bubbles in 1 or 2 things, but yeah, it's okay. Like my grandma told me one time, can't tell on a moving cow. I think she called me a cow. Anyway, here's one we put the napkin on the back of. Oh, I think it's a food pull top. Now, you can make these double-sided or not double-sided. I essentially did not make them double-sided, even though I put plain book page on the back of some of them, and I put napkin on the back of some of them. They don't have to be used double-sided, okay? Just throwing that out there. Because these can be glued straight onto a tag or a cluster or a page, or I wouldn't glue them on your skin, but I guess you could if you really, thought you should. But, it's just that kind of thing. Look at that, that's so cute. Now we're looking for a brad, because it's like, we're going to put a flower and a brad on this one like you would if you were going to use it for a closure. But you could also do this and just attach it to a tag, a bookmark, a journaling card, a belly band, a book page, a journal page. Did I say bookmark? You just use it for a closure or not. Now, if you're going to use it for a closure or something like that, you're going to want to cover your little splayed out brad arms on the other side. Just saying. Look at that. How adorable is that? I was like, yes. So those are the food tabs will sometimes have an extra hole in them like that. And those are the good ones for that. Could you drill a hole in one of them? Probably. I would use a vise to hold the pull tab, and then try to drill the hole. But most of them have holes in them. The food pull tab things like that. Look at that. How cute. You could put diamonds on these, which I'm going to show you in a minute. You could put thread on these. You could put a little tiny image on these. You could make them bigger and put stickers on them. I mean, holy cow. The options are just mind-boggling. I'm sure y'all sitting there just yelling out different things, you know, that you could do and use these for. Just saying. I'm just bringing the idea to you. Well, it's not my idea, you know. It's an old idea, but still bringing it to you because you might not have saw it before. So here I got a different dictionary book or reading book, or it could just be a word from anything that said heart of hearts, and I'm like, oh, I have this heart shape that I make, just in case you already have some wire shape somewhere. Okay, and we just glued a piece of plain book page to it because it's just plain book page. Like I said, it was treated front and back with matte medium. Let it dry away. And we've trimmed it out, and I have these heart diamonds, y'all. Oh, they're so pretty. I got them from the King Dollar. I don't think they have a brand name. I don't know. Just flat back heart shapes. And I'm like, oh, that fits perfectly. Which one do I want? And then that's the hard part. It's like, what do I want? What do I want? Oh, I think I want that one. So we're going to put, do I put glossy accents on the back? Yes, here comes the glossy accents. And then we're going to stick it on there, and we're going to let that dry for a while, y'all. You want to let it dry for a while. I know in video it looks like I went straight to the top glossy layer. Let it dry. Okay, because see, that's me putting my hands out there. Let that glossy accents dry, and then you come back. If you're going to put a coat on top, now I didn't take it completely over the heart. I just took it up just a wee hair, a little bit above the edge of the heart, so that you know the heart's down in there pretty good. It almost looks like what's that stuff called? Oh, now I can't think. You know, the stuff you pour on other things so that it gets embedded in there. Resin or rosin, depending on how you want to pronounce it. It's kind of like the word envelope or envelope. I put an envelope in your envelope kind of thing, you know. So, and I'm just smoothing off the edges again with a damp brush. And photo montage. We made it! Woohoo! These are so cute. I almost forgot to take a picture of the back of them, and I was editing, and I'm like, where's the backs? Where's the back? So I had to run back out here and take a picture of the back and go back in there and add them in. And y'all, they're fun. They can take overnight because I do really think you should treat your paper first. You could watercolor them. You could do whatever you want to. Look at that. I'm so delicate. It's imperative for you to know that I'm delicate, my friend. Look at that. Diamond. Oh, heart of hearts. These used to come out pretty good. I'm pretty darn happy. And these are the backs. Now, I would cover up the back of that one because of the brad all splayed out there. Okay? But that, of course, is totally up to you. And the backs are not too bad looking, so you can put a word or something else on the back, stamp an image, something. I appreciate each and every one of you, your kind comments, your likes, your shares, and your subscriptions. Thanks for watching, and happy arting, y'all.